So today I'm going to be showing you how to create a sweet little bunny friend out of a very simple square of knitted fabric. This is a perfect project for your first grade Waldorf homeschool. All you need to do is the basic knit stitch, know how to cast on, bind off, and sew up a square. I'm also going to give you some verses and a little story that you can say along with it if you want to incorporate that into your lesson. Okay, so you're gonna need a small amount of yarn. This is a lot, but I'm using a chunky weight yarn here. You need knitting needles appropriate to the size of your yarn. You're going to need a little bit of stuffing. This is polyfill, but it's preferred to use natural wool roving. This just happens to be what I have on hand right now, so I'm using this. You'll need a pair of scissors and a needle to sew up your seam with at the end. So then I like to measure from about my fingertips up to my shoulder to do a long tail cast on. You want to have a long loose tail. You have the loose end on the left and the ball end on the right. You're going to create a slip knot by looping and pulling through your end, and then slip it onto the needle and pull tight. Then you are going to have, again, your working yarn on the right and your loose yarn on the left. This is assuming a right-handed cast on. So you then take your thumb and forefinger and stick it through the yarn and pull it open and hold it with the rest of your hand. I'm going to show you that again slowly. Okay, stick it through, your thumb and forefinger, and hold it with your hand. Then you are going to take your needle, you come down through the front, over the back, release your thumb, and then pull up. Don't pull too tight, leave it a little bit loose. And then you put your thumb back through to create the exact loop again. So down over the front, up, over the back, pull it through, release with your thumb, and pull. And you'll be getting these little stitches on your needle. And here's a verse that we can say when we're casting on. Out and around, soft and slow, little loops begin to grow. Out and around, soft and slow, little loops begin to grow. You don't need to say it for every loop, but just a few times, just to set the mood and pace so that they stay mindful. So now I'm going to continue casting on. I'm going to cast on about 25 stitches. Casting on is also a great time to practice skip counting, so to check how many stitches you have on your needle. Okay, so once you're done, you have all your stitches. You have a bit of a tail left so that you can sew that in. And you're going to want to turn your needle around. And now you grab your other needle. When kids are first learning, they're probably going to hold the yarn in their hand like this, drop it, and pull it through, which is fine for just learning. Through the front, around the back, pull it through, and off jumps Jack. Through the front, around the back, pull it through, and off jumps Jack. And you just continue this way all the way across until you reach the end. Okay, and just to show you, Continental knitting also is pretty simple for kids to learn the knit stitch, but I found that the purl stitch is a little bit more difficult for them to pick up. So I do like to teach English first, but that's really a preference, I think, personally. You hold the wool in your left hand instead of your right hand, you put your needle through and you pull, loop it around sort of, and then pull it up through the front and off. It's the same stitch. If you do get into some of the later grades, Handwork has color work, and it does become super helpful to know how to do two-handed knitting. So you would knit Continental with your left and English with your right. And being able to do both of those at the same time will make your color work go a lot faster. So this would be like a good thing to try to practice both of. But just for this project, either one of these methods will be completely fine because you're only doing knit stitch the whole way through. And this is called garter stitch, and this kind of stitch is really great for stuffed toys because there doesn't end up being a lot of holes in it, and it has a good texture. All right, so we did some camera magic here, and I am now on the last row. And after I get to this end of this last row, I'm going to show you how to tell if you have a square. So this ensures that you don't have to count your rows. You just keep knitting and doing this little test until you get the right shape. After I get to the very last stitch, I'm going to lay my work flat on the table. And you just take one corner and you fold it up to the top corner, and you should get a perfect triangle if you fold your square in half. And that is how you know you have a square. So now we're going to do our cast off. You want to keep your cast off a little bit loose so that it doesn't curl. So what you do is you knit 2 stitches, and then you pull the first stitch that you knitted over top, and you pass it over the second stitch, and you drop it off the needle. You keep that second stitch on the needle. Then you knit your next stitch. And again, you just do the same thing. You pull it off and you pass your first stitch over and drop it off the needle. And you just continue doing that all the way along. Then you're going to get to your last few stitches here along, and you want to have 1 stitch left on the needle. You're going to cut your wool, leave a decent tail because you need to use this to sew up the bunny. So leave a pretty long tail. Pull your loop big, and then slip the tail through the loop and pull it tight. Now you have a knot, and you will not unravel your knitting. So now you have a nice square of fabric. Very squishy and cozy. Okay, so my idea, I'm going to leave this longer tail here. This is going to be the bum, and I'm going to fold it up this way. So what we need to do is we need to make a triangle that goes across sort of the top third, I want to say, ish, of bunny. And we're going to be sewing that with another color of yarn. So I just grabbed this out of my stash, and my idea is I'm going to use a contrasting color because I think I'm going to try to do a bow at the end on his, around his neck. But if you want this to be more hidden, you could use the same yarn that you used to knit the bunny with. Okay, so cut a decent amount. I always err on the side of more rather than less, just to be safe. So this is going to fold up, and this is going to make the ears and the head. I'm kind of trying to show you a little bit here. It's hard to get an idea of what you're doing, but it'll be magic and you'll see. So start weaving just over, under. It does not have to be anything perfect. And just kind of head your way up to the center top of the square. And leave a good amount of tail here because you're going to have to pull it, and especially if you want to have like a little bow like I'm going to do. So now you've reached the middle, and what you want to do is come down the other side and stop at the same row as you started at. So I'm following the line and I'm gonna stop right here. So just keep your eye on that little spot where you want to end the other side of your triangle. All right, and then once you have come down to this part, you wanna just go straight across on the row that meets up in the middle. Okay, and then once you get to the end here, you're gonna have two tails coming out at approximately the same spot. And a little sewn triangle. So now take some of your stuffing and we're going to put it in the center of the triangle here. This is gonna form the head. So this is the head, and then these are the ears. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the ball in and we're going to cinch it where our string is. So we're going to start pulling and it's going to pull together like magic and make a little head and ears for a bunny. Stuff in here, pulling and pulling, and pull, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my ends around the neck area to make like a collar, but also to give it a little bit of extra definition. So it'll really separate like the head from the rest of the body. So I'm going to split it apart. I'm going to go one direction with one and the other direction with the other. I think a thicker yarn might have been nice on this area just to make the bow stand out more, but this is what I had close to me, so this is what I ground. Plus my daughter made a little collar and tag for him later, so she named him Love. All right, so then I'm going to just tie a little bow here. I think I tied a triple bow just to try to deter my kids from unraveling it. All right, so once you have your nice little bow, you want to trim your ends up. We're gonna sew this part up so it'll all come together, don't worry. But if you did want to embroider a little face on him, you could do that at any point. All right, so putting some more stuffing in the bottom here, make sure he's nice and fluffy and able to sit up. And you can kind of see how it's coming together now. So now we have our long tail, and what we need to do is sew it together. Here we go, here, this is kind of what he's gonna look like. I'm making sure that he can sit and that he's stuffed enough. Now I'm gonna start just by connecting the two sides. So these are the two bottom corners. And then I'm gonna go across a few times on the bottom, and then I'm going to weave in and out in a loop so that it kind of all cinches together nicely at the bottom. So I'll just speed that part up for you, but basically you just want to, I pulled this together across first. It's really your preference how you sew up the bottom. I didn't want to do a straight line across because I thought that would be too much of a seam and he might not sit flat. So I tried to kind of go in a circle. Okay, so as you can see, I've pulled this kind of tight and I'm getting all of this cinched together. Okay, so I'm making sure that he can sit. He's doing pretty good. And then, so when you're sewing up the back, what you want to do is line up your rows so that you don't have like a super obvious seam. So you can line up the ridges and kind of make sure that you're sewing them together. All right, so when you get to the top, you want to make sure that you get all the way up to the head and that you don't jump over and skip an area, because if you skip an area, it's going to like pull his head backwards. So you want to really go all the way up to the ears. And then I'm going to just sew through the bottom of the ears to kind of cinch them together. Okay. So we're going to go through the bottom of the ears and then come back through in another spot, and they'll just kind of pinch it together. And do the same thing on the other ear. I want to tie a knot, I prefer to do this. You can do it on the inside. I just kind of did it on the outside because this is such a textured fabric anyways that you can't really feel it. Then you want to run your needle down into the inside of the body and pull it out. So we're going to go just down anywhere in the body. Really stick it through the body. Come out. And then pull it out, and then you give it a little snip and sort of fluff your friend back up, and the tail will just disappear inside. All right, and then the last thing you need to do is hide this little tail on the cast on edge. You can just sort of weave this down through the ear, and it'll just kind of disappear. And then you have your little bunny. And if you wanted to make a tail, there's two things you could do. You could make a little mini pom-pom, or you could do a twizzle like this, where you take a ply of yarn and you start twisting and twisting and twisting and twisting until it starts to curl up on itself. You just twist, 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 and eventually it will come together like this. This makes a little tiny tail. You could tie a knot here and stitch it on. I want to use a little bit of a longer end to stitch it. I think that looks really cute, but I'm going to just leave my bunny with no tail because I am happy with it the way that it is. If you did want to embroider a face, you could also do that and it would look pretty cute. Once there was a soft little bundle of wool. It had come from a sheep who wandered green hills. The wool was warm and quiet, and it was waiting to become something new. Gentle hands began to gather it, loop by loop, stitch by stitch. The wool began to stretch and grow, row by row, becoming something strong. The wool did not know what it would become, but it trusted the hands that guided it. At last, the work was finished. It was time to see. With a few careful stitches, the wool was shaped and formed. A little friend ready to be held. If you'd like to see more handwork projects, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.